Hey everyone, welcome to Tony for There's a Monster Under My Bed. Tony for you. Demons, angels, gods, and devils. Depending on your worldview, they can all be the hidden truths of the world or all the makings of the human mind. Whether you believe them or not is purely up to you, but there is a little truth in everything, right? In Shin Megami Tensei, a game known for its amazing depictions of these spiritual beings, they don't just stick to the creatures of old. They are known to add monsters of a more modern age from time to time, and they get just as much love as some of the greater deities. Let's go over a few of these urban legend demons and learn more about the mythology of times not so distant. Who knows, maybe we'll uncover a hidden truth others consider mere superstition. Without any further ado, let's talk about some urban demons in Shin Megami Tensei. Let's kick things off with the Jersey Devil. Originating from the New Jersey and Philadelphia regions of America, the Jersey Devil is a cryptid said to inhabit the forests of pine barrens in southern New Jersey. The creature is said to be an amalgamation of several animals smashed together in an unholy union. Looking like an upright, slim dog with hooves for feet, clawed hands, a goat head with accompanying horns, forked tail, and mythical wyvern-like wings. From the few reports of the animal interacting with humans, it's said to have a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream that incapacitates any who hear it, filling the forest with terror. The beast's tale originates from a woman named Deborah Leeds, lovingly dubbed Mother Leeds. Now, this Mother Leeds had quite the large family, with 12 kids living happily in her home. Well, actually, it turns out she wasn't so happy, since after finding out she was pregnant for the 13th time, she became extremely frustrated and said the next child would be the devil himself. For those of you outside of North America, the number 13 is considered extremely unlucky, or in some regards, downright evil. The reason for this is not known definitively. Some believe it's due to Judas Iscariot from the Bible, who betrayed the savior of mankind, Jesus Christ, for a mere 30 pieces of silver to be the 13th apostle. Others believe it's related to Norse mythology, where Loki was the 13th attendant to the godly feast in Valhalla, where he tricked the gods into killing the god Balder and ultimately setting in motion the end of the world, or Ragnarok. Wherever it originated from, the number remains feared to this day, with some buildings even omitting the 13th floor from their plans and skipping straight to calling the 13th floor the 14th, just in case. Regardless, from a relatively understandable outburst in frustration from having too many mouths to feed, paired with the evil energy around the number 13, the proclamation was more true than she ever imagined. Come one stormy night in 1735, Mother Leeds was in labor, and after a grueling birth, the child's appearance initially was normal. Before the family's very eyes, however, the innocent baby was transformed into a beast. Soft skin was morphed into scales, tiny feet into hard hooves, wings sprouted from the back, and the innocent child's head morphed into that of a goat's. More like the devil himself than any child of God. The demon child let out a shrill scream and beat the family within an inch of their lives with its forked tail, before finding freedom climbing out of the chimney, now only seen in passing as it haunts the forest in the surrounding region. What makes this legend unique is its striking similarities in reports from locals. In almost every tale, the description of the beast, from size, disposition, and visual qualities, all remain the same. In one report, there was a mill forging cannonballs where the workers spotted the Jersey Devil. They fired on the beast, but it had no effect at all. In another report, Joseph Bonaparte, the older brother of Napoleon himself, also is said to have seen the Jersey Devil while hunting in the area, once again saying that gunfire had no effect on it. Much like the chupacabra of more recent folklore, the animal is said to feed on livestock and cause little to no harm to humans directly, which is odd for a devil. Some believe the Jersey Devil is a strange mutation of a bat-like creature. Others believe it to be the devil's direct offspring in the corporeal world. Either way, it's strange indeed. In Shin Megami Tensei, the Jersey Devil is portrayed extremely accurately to the reports. The elongated, skinny body, goat-like head, wyvern wings, and even the forked tail. Oddly though, the goat horns are missing and the hooves are a metallic, almost armor-like shape. The sunken orange eyes really give off the vibe of a devil, and for such a small beast, it's extremely intimidating. Overall, an A+ design. Next is one from Native American folklore, the Thunderbird. This entity is less of a stereotypical cryptid, stalking the local area and stealing away livestock, and more of a mythological figure of religious significance. What's most interesting though is despite there being a great many Native American tribes spread out across all of North America, the Thunderbird's abilities and appearance, much like the previously mentioned Jersey Devil, are all quite similar. From the eastern Canadian tribes like the Algonquin and the Iroquois, to the southwestern American tribes like the Menominee and the Ho-Chunk. The Thunderbird is described as a giant bird of prey whose wing beats cause thunder to crash and lightning to shoot from its eyes. In some cultures, the Thunderbird is a human-animal hybrid, and in others, it's a protector who intervenes on human behalfs in exchange for prayers and gifts in their honor. The exact point of origin for the Thunderbird is unknown, but archaeological sites have contained depictions of the creature dating back to as early as 4,000 years ago. In my own region of Canada, the Thunderbird is a godlike figure who governs the greater heaven in Algonquin myth. According to the legend, they are responsible for thunder and lightning and hold up the upper world itself. On the flip side, the underworld is governed by the underwater panther or the great horned serpent. While the names of those planes may initially seem like heaven and hell, the spiritual animism of the region did not really have those aspects in their religion. The underworld in this regard is simply underwater, and the upper world was, well, everything else. Despite this, it's interesting to note the parallels between having a godlike being occupy the title of Master of Lightning and Thunder. Other religions throughout the world, notably Greek, Roman, and Norse mythology, share these aspects in common. Despite these cultures existing worlds apart and having no way to communicate mimetic ideas to each other regardless of the language barrier between them, the ideas overlapped to a striking degree. It suggests there's much more to this seeming legend than you might initially think. I wouldn't go so far as to say these myths are real and there is a being that controls the sky, lightning, and thunder, but maybe the human experience is much more uniform than you might think, thanks to the collective unconscious we all share through ideas and culture. For more on that subject though, you can check the video I did on archetypes. In Shin Megami Tensei, the Thunderbird is portrayed quite interestingly. I hesitate to say good or bad, but just unique. This giant metallic bird shares more in common with a fighter plane than an organic animal, but there are some motifs that are still identifiable. The surrounding ball lightning is obvious, but the sheer size and talons suggest the bird of prey aspect was also taken into account. The demon has a distinct symmetry to it, which suggests the design was inspired by imagery of the double Thunderbird from popular Native American artwork. In many native art pieces, entities would be drawn almost mirrored in the middle. This gave the being normal features in most regards, but oftentimes two heads as well. While the demon itself only has one, the rigid structure and a line down the middle suggests inspiration from that as well. Not entirely accurate to the legend, but a take on the mythological being that I myself at least appreciate. Finally is a collection of demons I have a particular affinity for, the human being demons. This entry will be more of an explanation of a collection of demons rather than going in depth with one like the others. Demons like Hooligan, Patriot, Executioner, Urban Terror, and many more come to mind. These are a collection of beings that have one thing in common. They are all more human than demon. We take for granted the amount of trust we have in society. Every person you walk past is on some level expected to be an upstanding, civil, and productive member of the community. It wasn't always like this, however, and for the vast majority of human existence, danger was very much a part of everyday life. And the one thing that could bring about the most harm to you is, in fact, another human being. This fear is deeply ingrained in us, and while in everyday life we suppress this fear and overcome it to some degree to function, what brings us more fear than any monster, demon, or god is just another person. Starting from the least threatening is the demon Hooligan. This demon is an average young man armed with a handgun and knife and represents the fear of being stolen from. Notably, he is decked out in some seriously expensive accessories. Sporting multiple piercings, tattoos, and sportswear, this demon is meant to represent the petty criminal with an obsession for appearances and petty crime. The word hooligan insinuates this demon isn't, or at least wasn't in life, out for blood, but would definitely not think twice about robbing someone for their belongings. The fear of losing possessions obviously isn't as deep as losing your own life, but a violation of social cohesion can be extremely traumatizing for the one being stolen from. Whether it's face-to-face robbery or unseen burglary, losing what you worked so hard to achieve in the blink of an eye is a truly terrifying idea. Next is Patriot. the demon draped in the American flag with tactical army gear across his entire body. Clearly zombified with life-threatening wounds, he carries out his ideologies even in death. This demon represents blind allegiance and zealotry, the fear of being destroyed by someone so enraptured by an idea and cause they would be willing to kill for it. Interestingly, while classified as a demon, he's more of a zombie, which thematically makes sense since soldiers for a cause are often seen as cogs for a machine rather than individual beings, told not to ask questions and to kill who they say to kill. In the bio for this demon, it states, "A fearful nationalist who fights for his ideology even after death." They are dead people that believe in a unipolar system where the world is led by their own country. The ideologies they carry into death still burn brightly, and they are all the more dangerous with no sense of reason or restraint left. Patriotism normally is a fine thing. Pride for your country and love for your people are important for cohesion in a society. When the idea is stretched too far, though, the nation raises a populace of fervent soldiers ready to kill any who oppose their glorious leaders' grabs for power and dominance. Their belief is not so uncommon in the world, and many face injustice at the hands of those who pull the strings for menial financial gain over the welfare of their fellow man. Executioner is an interesting one, since they are the most foreign, but also most explored fear in media. Being a chainsaw-wielding maniac wearing a bag over their head, sporting a large smiley face. This already may bring a few pop culture icons to mind. The being represents the fear of a psychotic maniac ready to kill for seemingly no reason at all. With an appearance most likely meant to parody the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, this demon isn't actually a demon at all, and in fact is part of the Messiah cult in the game Shin Megami Tensei 2. In other words, still a human being. The Messiah cult being the religious order of the game, the title of Executioner makes a lot more sense, but that doesn't change the outwardly terrifying visage of the person. Occupying the job of carrying out death sentences doesn't necessarily give you a reason to use a chainsaw or wear that type of mask. That makes one thing clear though, this person loves their work. The fear itself is unchanged, a maniac who delights in killing for no greater reason. While in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the maniac is acting against the law and in-game they are acting within it, it doesn't change the unsettling nature of one that delights in bloodshed. Lastly, and most terrifying, is the demon Urban Terror. This is a demon that was once a terrorist. After demonification, their ideals withered away, but their bloodlust only increased. Wearing a fine orange suit and sporting a wide grin, this demon blends into normal society, hiding behind his back the equipment and wherewithal to destroy the lives of anyone and anything, this time quite literally. This demon represents the fear of one deranged man who is able to end the lives of untold amounts of people. With the science of war advancing so much, it's uncomfortable to think about the sheer amount of devastation that could be caused by one single person with nothing to lose. One well-placed attack could completely and utterly destroy the very existence of thousands, not to mention the trauma left behind in their wake. The design for the demon is based on Charles Manson of the Manson family cult, who were responsible for the deaths of at least 9 people, active in the late 1960s and early 1970s. The swastika forehead tattoo and long matted hair are very similar to the real-life cult leader, and even the crown of thorns meant to represent how Manson believed he was a prophet for God. The crown may also signify the belief many terrorists have that they are martyrs for a cause and must carry out their actions for the greater good in their sick and twisted minds. It really is unsettling to think that one person can cause so much devastation in the lives of more people than you could even imagine, all to get on TV or further a cause no one will remember in a decade or two. These people are rightfully ostracized from society and deemed deeply unwell, but many are allowed to fester and build resentment before committing their tragedies in crowded malls, schools, city squares, and sometimes even people's homes. I guess these demons aren't really urban legends per se. Some archetypes could fit into beings of folklore, but the fear itself is very human, very real, and that makes it the most terrifying set of demons on this list. Well, that wraps up this urban myth breakdown. Let me know your favorite mentioned demon in the comments down below, and while you're down there, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. My favorite has to be Urban Terror or Hooligan. Hard to choose since they're so similar. The fear of your fellow man is so often portrayed in media, but never ceases to unsettle me how scary a demon that looked just like you and me can be. Special thanks to ZZZ, Andre Vinicius de Silva Valens, Arctic Mirror, Kalos, Kerhos, Goose Kebab, Jem Morales, Just a Middleman, Masker2196, Matt M, Patty123, Paul Torrio, The Digital Dutchman, Video Gamer 75, and many more for supporting the channel on Patreon. If you'd like to support, check the link in the description below. Thanks for watching this cultural fear factor, and I'll see you in the next Tony for You. Have a good one.